Welcome back to the deep dive. We're the knowledge shortcut, really trying to strip away the frustration from complex topics and just leave you with clear, actionable insight.
That's the goal.
And today, we're taking on something critical for, well, anyone trying to get fluent in English, effortlessly building vocabulary.
Mm,
We've looked at a whole stack of sources on language acquisition, cognitive science stuff, practical learner guides, and we've distilled the really important bits.
yeah, the core takeaways.
Our mission here is to get you past those stressful word lists and show you how to actually weave new English words into your daily life seamlessly.
And it's really a necessary intervention, I think. We're tackling that core, that really debilitating challenge so many learners face.
Right.
The frustration, it isn't usually about lack of effort. It's more about using a flawed approach. You, the learner, you spend hours maybe studying 10 words really intensely today, feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, optimistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then tomorrow morning, those words feel shaky, maybe half are just gone. They just sort of vanish when you try to recall them.
That poof factor, that's what we really need to dig into. It's not just annoying, it can crush your confidence.
Absolutely.
You start feeling overwhelmed, stressed, maybe questioning if you're cut out for this,
Yeah.
comparing yourself to people who seem fluent.
And we totally get that pain point. The common assumption is, okay, if words are vanishing, I just need to study harder.
Right. Longer lists, more drilling.
Yeah, or more hours. But the promise of this deep dive, based on what we're seeing in these strategies, is that building vocabulary that lasts doesn't have to be so hard.
Okay.
It really just requires a fundamental shift in how you engage with the language. It's about changing habits, not just cranking up the study time.
So we're not just handing out tips. It's more like a new cognitive operating system for learning language.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. We're going to unpack 5 really practical, easy strategies you can start using, like, right away. And they're grounded in the science of how memory actually works.
Okay, let's do it. Where do we start? Maybe by understanding why the old ways often don't work.
Exactly. Let's look at why traditional methods often fail. Okay, so if learners keep seeing that rapid, getting that poop effect we talked about, it points straight to a weak spot in how the word was learned in the first place.
The initial encoding.
Right. We need to look at this through a cognitive science lens, which the source materials definitely explore. When you just see a word on a list, totally isolated,
Yeah.
your brain tends to store it as just abstract information, purely semantic memory, just a definition floating in space.
And what's wrong with that? Just semantic memory.
Well, the big problem is prioritization. Your brain is incredibly efficient, right? Constantly filtering what's important and what's not. If that isolated piece of data, that single word from a list, doesn't have a clear function or a sensory link or any emotional context,
The brain just says not relevant.
pretty much, it gets tagged as like low priority junk data. This is basically the idea behind the forgetting curve you hear about.
Ah, right.
Without quick, meaningful reinforcement, that data gets pruned pretty aggressively to save mental energy.
Wow. So those huge word lists we sometimes think are the gold standard, they might actually be the problem, causing what the sources call the overload factor.
Precisely. Trying to cram, say, 50 abstract words into your head in one go, that creates massive cognitive load.
Just too much.
Yeah, and the sources specifically mention the feelings this causes. Feeling overwhelmed by the pace, the sheer size of the lists, it builds up resistance.
Resistance.
Yeah, like your brain fights back. Rote learning is generally low context, high effort, and ultimately low retention. The brain kind of rebels because it's inefficient. It's not how we naturally learn.
Huh. It sounds like we're asking our brains to be filing cabinets for random trivia, and the brain's basically saying, nope, got better things to do.
That's a perfect analogy. When you force these intense study sessions with unrelated abstract words, you're almost guaranteeing you'll forget them quickly.
Because the word isn't connected to anything real.
Exactly. It's disconnected from the life it's supposed to describe. If it doesn't serve an immediate purpose, poof, it's gone.
Okay, so the big shift needed, and this is really key for you, the listener, is moving away from that intense, stressful, isolated studying towards consistent, smaller habit changes. Integrating the language into your actual environment.
Making it functional, not just academic.
Right, which leads us perfectly into the foundational strategies learning where you actually live and operate. Okay, let's kick things off with the most grounded and immediate change you can make.
Tip number 1 is all about hyperrelevance. The core idea here is Prioritize the vocabulary that's useful right now in your immediate world.
Not abstract stuff you might never use.
Exactly. Forget trying to master complex legal terms if you don't need them yet. Start with the nouns and verbs in your kitchen, your office, your commute.
So literally starting with the specific things mentioned in the sources. Your cup, your phone, your bag.
Your keys, the door, the action of walking.
Right. The taste of your food. Why spend energy on, I don't know, obscure historical terms when you can't confidently name the stuff right in front of you?
Relevance is the ultimate memory booster. And here's where the technique gets really powerful. You want to create a direct link.
Direct link.
Between the English word and the actual object or action. Completely bypass that mental step of translating from your native language.
Ah, okay.
Think about your morning coffee routine. You're not learning coffee by thinking of the word in your language first. You just look at the brown liquid, smell it, and immediately, instinctively think, coffee.
That mental shortcut, it seems small, but I bet it has huge implications for fluency and speed.
Oh, massive.
Because if I'm constantly translating in my head, word A equals word B, I'm basically doubling the mental work every single time.
It's an exponential effort reduction. The sources use that coffee routine example really well. It's like a perfect little functional ecosystem for language.
Okay.
When you make coffee, you naturally encounter cup, coffee, spoon, steam, hot, stir, pour. It's all connected.
So walk us through how someone actually does this. What's the practical application?
You need to say the words out loud as you do the action. That's crucial.
Okay.
So if you're stirring your drink, you actually say, I am stirring my coffee. Feel the heat. Verbalize it. This coffee is hot.
Got it. So you're physically doing it, seeing it, and saying it.
Exactly. That physical action plus the sound of your own voice,
Yeah.
plus the sensory input, the smell, the heat, it all combines to form a really powerful, sticky, episodic memory.
Episodic memory. Like tied to an event.
Precisely. It's linked to that specific moment, that experience, not just a dry definition. You're basically training your brain to treat English as the primary language for that small, everyday task. And every time you repeat it, you strengthen those neural pathways.
Okay, so we've grounded the language in our physical space. The sources then say we need to expand that into our digital space too. Tip number 2, environmental immersion, but the easy way. Use English around you. And the simple action here is just changing the language settings on your devices.
Yeah, your phone, your computer, maybe your favorite social media apps.
That seems like a really clever way to use passive, repeated exposure.
It's brilliant, really. Think how many times a day we glance at our phones or use our computers.
Constantly.
You see those high-frequency screens all the time. The lock screen, the settings menu, the camera app. These are interfaces you probably already know
Yeah.
inside out visually.
Okay, but hang on. Potential frustration point for a learner, especially beginner, won't switching my whole phone to English just lead to panic? Like, I can't find the settings icon fast enough, I get annoyed, and I just switch it back?
That's a really important point, and the research does address it. You need to be smart about which interfaces you switch first. If you switch something critical, high stakes, like maybe your main work email client, yeah, you might panic if you can't figure something out quickly.
Right.
So the sources suggest starting with interferences, where the consequence of making a mistake is low, but how often you see it is high.
Like what?
Think about maybe gaming platforms,
Yeah.
social media feeds, music streaming apps, things you already navigate almost by muscle memory.
Ah, I see. So even if I don't technically know the English word for that button, the location and the icon tell me exactly what it does anyway.
Precisely. You understand the context perfectly already. You know, camera takes pictures, you know, messages for texts.
Right.
Seeing those common words over and over. The sources mention words like settings, account, profile, like share. It forces natural passive memory retention. No stressful studying involved.
It's just unavoidable exposure, habitual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's highly relevant because it shifts English from being a subject you study
Mhm.
into just a tool you use to live your life, right? It bypasses that whole intentional study phase, making the learning feel much more seamless.
And that consistency, seeing it day in, day out.
That's what the brain loves. By seeing English constantly in a familiar, trusted place like your phone screen, you're integrating it into your thinking. You're prepping your brain to actually process thoughts in English, rather than always defaulting back to translation. #Tag5E. Active retention and mini moments. Tips 3 and 4.
Okay, so we've covered integrating English into our physical and digital worlds. That sets the foundation. But vocabulary only really sticks when you activate it, right?
Absolutely. You have to move from just recognizing a word to actually being able to retrieve and use it.
Which brings us to tip 3.
So the big mistake, as we kind of touched on, is treating a new word like something you're just going to collect. You write it down, maybe look it up, and file away.
Yeah.
The source materials are really clear on this. The moment you learn a word is the moment you need to apply it. The solution is immediate usage.
So when you encounter a new word, maybe you look it up or someone tells you you need to immediately try to use it.
Yes. Build it into a full, active sentence right then and there. It's the difference between passive recording and active engagement.
Let's break down the mechanics of that. Why does using it right away help solidify it in memory?
Okay, so when you first hear or read a new word, it kind of sits in your short-term semantic memory, which is pretty fragile.
Right, the poof zone.
Exactly. But forcing yourself to construct a sentence around it, and ideally saying it out loud, engages multiple brain systems.
How so?
You're retrieving the word, thinking about grammar to put it in a sentence, using your motor cortex to speak it, and your auditory system hears it. This strengthens the connection dramatically.
So it's about tying the abstract definition to a concrete personal experience or expression?
Yes, you're shifting the memory type again. It's not just semantic, the definition. You're adding episodic memory, linking it to that specific event, that context, that moment you used it. Think about the example from the source. Learning the word delicious. If you just wrote delicious tastes good, that's weak. But if you're eating something amazing, and right then you say, wow, this cake is truly delicious, bam.
You've linked it.
You've linked it to the taste, the pleasure, the visual of the cake, the sound of your own voice, the sentence structure. It's multisensory.
I get it. That immediate application acts like a high importance tag for your brain.
It really does. It signals, hey, this word is useful. It's needed for communication right now. The more complex the pathways involved, sensory input, motor output, hearing yourself, context, the more durable that memory trace becomes.
So it actively prevents the poof effect.
Exactly. You've cemented it with an actual experience, not just a definition.
Okay. That makes sense for active use. Now, tip number 4 seems to be about consistency over brute force. Create mini English moments.
Yeah, this one's fantastic.
Define that for us. What's a mini English moment?
It's basically setting aside really short, focused periods of time, maybe just a minute or two, that's dedicated entirely to consciously thinking in English.
Just thinking.
Just thinking. This strategy directly tackles that feeling of being overwhelmed. We're contrasting the power of doing something tiny consistently every day.
Versus the pressure of scheduling a huge, daunting study session once a week that you might dread or skip.
Right. The sources really hammer home that small, easy steps build lasting habits and momentum much more effectively.
And the power here is using your internal monologue, like the voice inside your head.
Precisely. It's about deliberately narrating your immediate life to yourself, but doing it in English.
Okay, why is that helpful?
Because it transforms receptive vocabulary words you understand when you read or hear them into active vocabulary words you can actually pull out and use yourself when you speak.
The retrieval practice idea again.
Exactly. That internal narration forces retrieval. You have to find the words. And that's way more beneficial for long-term memory than just passively recognizing a word you read.
So how do you actually do this? Do I need to, sit down with a diary for 2 minutes?
No, that kind of adds friction, which defeats the mini-moment idea.
Right.
The sources suggest using dead time. When you're walking somewhere, waiting in line, maybe doing simple chores like cooking or washing dishes,
Okay.
you just internally describe what you're doing or observing right then and there. Really simple stuff. The examples they give are like, I'm cutting vegetables now. I need a sharp knife. Or looking out the window, the sun is bright today, maybe I should wear sunglasses. Simple, immediate narration.
That sounds almost too simple, but I can see how it forces your brain to work differently.
It's simple but profound.
Yeah.
It forces your brain to actively construct meaning in English, not just passively decode it when someone else speaks.
You're building the pathways.
Exactly. You're building the crucial mental infrastructure for spontaneous speech. Because think about it. In a real conversation, you don't have time to mentally translate everything from your native language first.
Oh, no, definitely not.
These mini moments train your brain to go straight from the thought or observation directly into English expression. You're kind of preloading those everyday sentences, making them ready to go.
Okay, we've got integration, active use, consistency through mini moments. But let's be real, the biggest enemy of any new habit is often just boredom or burnout.
Yeah, if it feels like a constant chore, it's not going to stick.
Which brings us nicely to tip number 5.
Right. Reviewing vocabulary is absolutely essential for keeping it long term. We know this. But traditional review, like drilling flashcards over and over, can be incredibly tedious and, honestly, kind of stressful for a lot of people.
Definitely.
So making the review process enjoyable is the secret weapon for consistency. Because if you actually like doing it, you'll do it more often naturally.
Which increases the reinforcement. Makes sense.
So the sources talk about practical, fun ways to turn review into something that feels more like leisure time.
Like what kind of things?
Things like playing word games, could be apps, could be board games, watching English videos or movies that you genuinely find interesting,
Okay.
or even just chatting with friends in English in a relaxed, low-pressure social setting.
How does the fun part actually help with memory, scientifically speaking?
It links back to stress reduction, mostly. When learning feels enjoyable, your brain releases positive neurochemicals, like dopamine.
Ah.
This helps create what we might call natural learning. If you're watching, say, an English cooking show because you love cooking,
Yeah.
and you're hearing and maybe repeating the words for ingredients or actions, chop, stir, bake, the learning happens almost subconsciously without that feeling of pressure or stress.
And stress inhibits memory.
Hugely. That feeling of, ugh, I have to memorize this right now is a major blocker for effective memory formation. Fun removes that block.
So the goal is to make review something you want to do, not just another task on your to-do list.
Exactly. Leverage your existing interests. If you love fashion, watch English-speaking fashion YouTubers and pick up their vocabulary. If you're into gaming, watch streams in English.
Use the context you already enjoy.
Right. The context provides the motivation. You're learning the words because they unlock something interesting for you, like understanding a cool video or participating in a game discussion, not just because you're supposed to memorize them for some imaginary test.
That enjoyable, low-stress vibe really helps lock things in and keeps you coming back for more.
Precisely. It keeps that consistency engine running without feeling like a grind.
Okay, those 5 tips are super practical. Integration, active use, mini moments, fun review. But there seems to be one final piece of advice, maybe more of a mindset thing, that underpins everything else.
Yes, this is crucial. If the first 5 are the how-to, this last one is the how to keep going. And it is simply, be patient.
Patience. Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. It's maybe the hardest skill for language learners, but arguably the most critical for actually reaching your goals. Building a strong vocabulary takes time. It's not linear. There will be ups and downs. And we have to talk about the mindset shift required here. Worrying about forgetting words or being terrified of making mistakes. It's paralyzing.
Yeah.
And it's totally counterproductive.
Yeah, I know that feeling. If I forget a word I thought I knew yesterday, that little voice pops up. See? You're bad at this, or why can't you remember simple things?
That internal script needs a rewrite. The sources offer this really powerful reframe, something every learner should probably tape to their mirror. Mistakes are your friends.
Mistakes are your friends.
Yes. Every single mistake isn't a sign you failed. It's actual concrete proof that you are engaging, you are trying, you are pushing the edges of what you currently know.
So it's evidence of growth, not failure.
Exactly. It's like a little flag saying, okay, this connection needs a bit more work. A mistake is just a diagnostic tool. It tells you where to focus next.
That's actually a really helpful way to look at it.
Isn't it? Because if you're not making mistakes, it probably means you're playing it too safe, staying inside your comfort zone.
Right, and not stretching yourself.
A mistake just highlights a slightly weaker neural connection and says, hey, maybe this word needs one more mini moment or needs to be used in another sentence. Embracing that removes the fear.
And if you're less afraid, you're more likely to try using that new word, even if you're not 100% sure.
Exactly. Which, paradoxically, is the fastest way to actually make it stick. That willingness to be imperfect, to err, is the quickest path to building durable fluency. #TagZ6. Conclusion and final thought.
Okay, so this deep dive has really given us, and hopefully you, the listener, a clear, science-backed path forward, moving beyond that old frustration with vocabulary.
Yeah, 5 simple, practical habits that shift the focus from painful study to more effortless integration.
Let's quickly recap them. First,
Anchor your learning in reality. Learn words from your daily life. Build those little language ecosystems around the things you see and do every day. Maximize that passive exposure. Use English around you. Change those digital interfaces, phone, computer. Leverage that natural repeated viewing.
heard.
Activate immediately. Speak new words right away. Use them in a full sentence as soon as you learn them to create that stronger episodic memory.
Fourth,
Consistency over intensity. Create those mini English moments. Just 1 or 2 minutes of thinking in English, narrating your actions internally. Train that retrieval muscle. And fifth,
keep it going with positivity. Review with fun. Integrate enjoyable activities, games, videos, chats to make practice stress-free and sustainable.
that's the roadmap.
Right. So here's your application prompt. We really want you to put this into action, like right now. Look around you, wherever you are. Following those simple examples we talked about, just describe one thing you see in English, or pick one new word you've mentally committed to using today. And say it out loud, even if it's just a whisper.
Yeah, do it now.
Maybe you say, the lamp is bright, or if you're taking notes, my pen needs ink, or maybe just, this water is cold. Start small. Start now.
And building on that final piece of wisdom, mistakes are your friends. Maybe I can leave you with a slightly more provocative thought to chew on.
Go for it.
If learning is fundamentally tied to making errors, if a mistake is actually proof you're putting in the effort,
Yeah.
then maybe the speed and the frequency of your mistakes are the truest indicators of how fast you're progressing.
Interesting.
So don't try to avoid mistakes. Maybe even seek them out. Ask yourself, how can I challenge myself to make more mistakes today? How can I use a word I'm only 80% sure about in a conversation?
Wow.
Because that willingness to operate right at the edge of your knowledge, that's the real accelerator. That's what pushes you forward fastest.
That is a challenge. Embrace the errors as fuel for growth. Definitely something to take away and try this week as you start transforming those vocabulary habits.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.